Hello! You are watching the Video Voters Guide, organized by the League of Women Voters of Portland. All candidates who filed for this race were invited to participate in the Video Voters Guide. However, there are many reasons during a campaign why a candidate may be unable to appear. For comprehensive coverage by the League, including information on candidates who might not have been available for a video interview, visit vote411.org. Information is available in both English and Spanish. Candidates may choose to include additional information on Vote 411, such as their own YouTube videos. Watch, share, and be an informed voter.
Hello, this is Haley McLaughlin with the League of Women Voters of Portland. And with me today is Reiko Mia Williams running for Portland Community College Zone 7 in the May 18th special election. Welcome, Reiko.
Thank you, Haley.
To get us started, how will you work with faculty unions and college administration to assure stable funding and continued educational excellence in times of fluctuating enrollment?
I believe it is critical to engage stakeholders like faculty unions and administrative leaders, as well as students in those decisions. I also believe that retention of students is critical. During a time of fluctuating enrollment, there are opportunities to engage students who are already familiar with a community college. So you don't have to go out and get new students. You have to make sure that the students who have already been enrolled are getting the support and advising that they need in order to complete their programs of study and transfer to a four-year institution. I think that professional development is also important, and not professional development that's done too, but that faculty get the opportunity to speak into the kind of professional learning that they need in order to improve their teaching practice. I think that, again, I'd like to reiterate that involving stakeholders and giving them an opportunity to speak into what happens rather than top-down leadership is how I've tried to lead in every professional role that I've had.
What initiatives would you take or support to improve graduation and transfer rates for low-income students and students of color?
Sure. I believe that students of color at community college they're a haven for students of color and for low-income students. I believe that advising and counseling are critical components to student success. I think programs like TRIO, programs like the Camp Migrant Program, there are tons of programs at the community college that can help to support students. But I think that it's also critical to remember that students have basic needs that need to be met in order for them to focus on their community college education. So do they have adequate housing? Do they have access to food? Do they have access to basic needs that we often aren't considering when we're enrolling students? So I think that it's critical that the community college partner with community-based organizations and develop programming to address childcare needs, housing needs, and food needs so that students can focus on their studies. So we remove all of the barriers to them focusing on their education.
If the current state budget does not provide adequate funding for increasing needs, how will you meet the shortfall without raising tuition?
It's important to me that tuition is not increased because I think that continues to be a barrier for students. How will getting an education become affordable? So again, I think retention and making sure the students are completing their programs of study. There are so many students who start at the community college but don't finish. They may register, they may enroll, but then they don't complete. So those retention opportunities are critical. And I think that there are tremendous opportunities to be able to reach back out to students who may have started and stopped their education. So I think that that's an important component to ensuring that there's funding. Those students are eligible for federal funding in many cases. So making sure that we reach out to those students and that they aren't expected to begin and complete their programs without someone advising and counseling them. I can relate to that personally because I'm a student in a different school system, but it helps me to have somebody advising and counseling and working and supporting me. And I know that students at the community college need that even more so because they don't have that experience behind them.
How do you envision the role of the community college within the community and within the state system of higher education?
I believe I said earlier that community colleges are very, very important to low-income, first-generation, African-American, Latino students. I think that their largest their student population is represented by those communities. So people who've never been to college before or who are in a family and they are the first in their families to attend college. I also think that they are a center for community education for someone who wants to take a course but may not want to enroll in a degree completion program. They are, my community colleges, I can walk to PCC Rock Creek campus from my home, and the partnerships with Parks and Recreation, there's campus programs for people. So I think that the community college represents many things to many different people, but they are a hub for the community. And there are so many opportunities for partnerships that it becomes a place where people can thrive and interact and engage in community education and in livable in professional educational experiences that will lead to livable wage jobs.
How has the COVID-19 crisis increased both your concerns and perhaps your hopes for the future of public education?
Well, I have, as the principal of an elementary school, I have been engaged in this process since I think it was mid-March last year when we were thrust into distance learning without a whole lot of preparation or time to plan. And so I think that the opportunity that has existed is that we learn that we can adapt. We can adapt to the changing needs of the world. And in this case, we found that while it was slow going in the beginning, getting up to speed around teaching distance learning, offering a distance learning program, we were able to do that. And similarly, at the community college, we weren't prepared. There were people who were teaching in person, and you also had online teachers, but how we adapted, the fact that we can adapt, I think that's one of the learning opportunities for us. And then also, I think another important component is that we know that there are some students who thrive in an in-person environment. And there are some students who thrive with distance learning. We saw that in the school where I am. And so I think making sure that we're meeting the varying needs of students, that we all don't learn in the same way, we all don't thrive in the same way. And so I think that that's a learning opportunity for us as we're planning and moving forward, is to recognize the diversity in learning styles and experiences that students need in order to thrive. And for those programs that are hands-on opportunities, there are ways in which we can support that hands-on learning at home if we can't meet in person. And I think that also figuring out all the ways in which we can offer in-person learning in safe ways is critical. So I think it's been a tremendous opportunity. I'll summarize by saying that we can adapt. We can adapt and change as society changes, and we can meet the changing needs of our student community.
Thank you, Reiko, for joining us today.
Sure. Thank you, Haley. Thank you for having me.
I want to remind our viewers that the special district election will be Tuesday, May 18th. As with all elections in Oregon, we will vote by mail. The last day to register is Tuesday, April 27th. Ballots will be mailed beginning Wednesday, April 28th, and must be received by Tuesday, May 18th at 8 p.m. Postmarks do not count, so please plan to mail early or use a drop-off site. Additional information about races and other election information is available at the league-sponsored website, vote411.org. Please be an informed voter and share this resource with your family and friends. This is Haley McLaughlin with the League of Women Voters of Portland. Thank you for joining us today.